There is one energy that is above all others. You've heard it before, and you're going to think it means something completely different. And that is the simple four-letter word, love. And you're going to say, oh, yes, I've heard this before. But love is really all that is in the energy, or in the universe. It's the only energy that is actually available. But love has many faces. We tend to plaster little cupids and arrows and hearts and chocolates and red roses and that type of thing, unicorns and rainbows and all those wonderful little things, sprinkles and glitter. We think that's what love is. But love is also the mama bear that protects her baby, and she'll rip your face off if you come near it. That's love as well. Love is about strength and protection and embracing and empathy, but it's not about facilitating, and it's not about giving up your own energy. It's about setting somebody up so that they have their own power of love. Because when you enable someone, in other words, when you give them what they say they want and you simply just keep feeding and feeding and feeding and don't ever teach and don't ever inspire and don't ever every now and then push, that's not really love. What that is need from you. What some people tend to do, and codependent caretakers, and I have something that's a cycle that I had to go through myself because that's who I was. You tend to take care of other people. And the reason you're doing it, you tell yourself, is from love. But what you're actually doing is you're working from need. I need that person to need me. And I am willing to spend my love energy on them with the idea that what they will give me back is some type of love, some type of acceptance, and some type of relationship that I can depend upon. But what always happens is that person gets used to that love energy. And it's the type of love energy that creates this hunger in that person. And they become like Buddhists' hungry ghosts, where they have large mouths but small stomachs. So they're constantly needing more and more and more. And when it gets to the point of you no longer having the power or the energy or the resources to feed them, what they end up doing is blaming you and then turning around and leaving you. And now you're left empty and spent and alone. And that other person has broken your heart, quote unquote. And what has really happened is you've broken your own heart. You've set yourself up for the fall. And really the reason that you did that was because you feel like that is what you are worth. You feel comfortable in some way as that heartbroken person. And now finally you're able to go tell your story to somebody else. And now you receive love and empathy from those other people because you have been through that trial. And you need to be able to learn. I know this is hard, but this is how love is. And I'm only speaking of this because I have been through this cycle myself. So what I speak of, I have experienced. And you can learn to break that cycle once you become aware of what is actually happening. Once you become aware that as that codependent caretaker, as that quote-unquote lover of the world, that feeder of that world, that enabler of the world, that what you're giving out isn't really unconditional love. What you're giving out is this conditional love with an expectation of something coming back. And that's one of the components of true love, is that it expects nothing back. That the act of service, the love given out, is the gift itself. And that is something that you really have to learn how to do. How do you give out love without expectation back? And that's because you have given yourself the love first. You have to first feed your own love bubble. And then you understand where your love comes from. Your love comes from your sense of God or the universe or something of that nature, however you connect. And then that is the pool that you are able to give the love out of. You're not feeding people out of your own space of love. You're feeding people out of the infinite amount of love that surrounds us in every single moment. Quantum physicists say that 96% of what we can measure in energy and in mass is what's called dark energy and dark mass, because we have no idea what it is. And I believe that's the love that is unseen, the love that is there to be given out, the love that is to be shared. If only 4% of what we can measure makes up the physical world that we know of, that means there is 96% that we can take in for ourselves and 96% that we can give out to others without touching our own energy. And once you are filled with love that you have fed yourself with, once you have that to overflowing, it's so easy just through your example to show other people how to get their own love. And what you've done is you've empowered them. You've enabled them to take care of themselves. And unless you're in a really great stand, you are going to be unstable in that. You have to understand that it's okay when other people are enabled, when other people are empowered. Because when you are in that codependent caretaker where you're expecting other people to take care of you, once other people get enabled and once other people get self-empowered, they start making their own choices. And they start stepping out of the box that you've created for them. Because we all create boxes for other people through our egos. We all create these boxes of how this other person should be and where they should go. It's why you hear so many people criticizing others when they get a new job and they're going to move away, or when they're dating that new person, or even when they've lost weight and they're starting a health regimen. You'll see their friends that drink or smoke, really talking to them about, are you sure that's what you want to do? When we start making these changes and these choices for ourselves, we start stepping out of the box that others have created for us. And unless that person who has put us in that box is really stable in themselves, it's going to trigger them, because now you have changed and their ego is built around who you are. And that is like death to them. You changing changes their ego and kills their ego. And they will fight sometimes till the end to keep you the way they are. Or otherwise it threatens them. It threatens their worldview. But understand about how that is all about them. And that's also part of love. Part of love is witnessing someone that you might care about falling apart because you aren't following their expectations. And part of love is saying, I understand that what I'm doing is triggering you, but I also understand that I am not contracted in this world to give up of my own self simply to feed you. Because if I do that, it will never be enough. You will always want more. And you will just absolutely deplete everything that I have, and then we'll both be empty. And that does no one any good. So the highest source of love, if you can understand it, is for you to be in your own empowerment, for you to be in your own enablement, and simply through the act and through the living of your own unconditional love for yourself, that's the only way that you can truly show people how to empower and enable themselves. And the more people that are able to do that, the stronger this world will become. The stronger each individual is, the stronger each chain that links humanity together becomes. And the stronger each link is, the stronger the chain as a whole is, and then the stronger this world is. And the less people start acting out of need or necessity or trying to fit in or trying to keep you down, the less energy that's spent on that, the more energy that can be spent on joy and peace and tranquility and working with each other and collaboration, and the more that can be built. Can you imagine what this world would be like if there had never been a war? Can you imagine what the resources that would be here on this planet if people hadn't torn down and destroyed what others have built? Can you even imagine how much we have today? How many resources, the roads and the buildings and the businesses and the homes and the structures, both politically, socially, physically, that are in running right now today, whether they're good or not, they're still running. Can you imagine how much greater they would be if no conflict between man had ever happened? Now think about how those conflicts have come together. Those conflicts have come because somebody else didn't fit in somebody's box, because they didn't conform to their ideals. They didn't follow their God. They didn't follow their dictates. They were a different color. They were a different sex, a different gender. Whatever it was, some excuse was brought up in order to create this conflict, because that other person did not feel enabled or empowered in their own self to just simply grow in their own self-confidence, their own self-empowerment, and their own self-unconditional love. So as each one of us becomes aware and takes on the mantle of learning who we are and truly loving ourselves, all the idiosyncrasies, all the flaws, all the wrinkles, and all the beauties too, and simply understand that's who we are and that's where we are, and we simply evolve moment to moment, and we step upon the cracks of our past. Once you understand that the things from your past are the building blocks that you step upon to build your future, you can begin to, number one, become aware of who you truly are, and you can truly appreciate everything that's ever happened to you, everything you've ever faulted yourself for, everything you've ever congratulated yourself for. Those have all come together in a magical mix to make you who you are today. And the same is true for everyone else. Everyone has put together block by block who they are from the wisdom of their past, from things that they preferred and things that they didn't prefer. It allowed them to create this entire history and story for themselves, which has made them who they are today and created their personality. And you have the ability from this moment on to build your future personality, your future reality, however you will, based upon how you view what has happened in the past. As you can learn to be grateful for absolutely everything, our beautiful brains will find more and more things for us to be grateful for. And as we live from a viewpoint, from a moment of full gratitude, different things will be available for us. Not that they weren't available for us before, but we couldn't recognize them because we didn't have the eyes of gratitude. It's not like new doors open for us, or like God all of a sudden says, okay, now you're worthy and I'm going to show you this. It's that it was always there, but we didn't have the eyes to see. We didn't have the mind to comprehend. We didn't have the inspiration or the strength or the skills to be able to take whatever we see in front of us that we would prefer and bring it into our reality. And so what you're doing for yourself is you're taking on those eyes of vision and gratitude and beauty and joy and peace and self-empowering unconditional love. What you're doing for yourself is you're creating a whole new being. You're finding out, who are you, stripped of the guilt, stripped of the shame, stripped of the wrongness. Who are you, stripped of all the doubts, and really at the end of the day, stripped of all the fear. Someone once said that we are God in drag. That was Ram Dass. And someone else said that we are God in fear. That's who we are. We are God in fear. We would be fully gods if we were able to strip away our fear. We would expose even more of our godness out into this world, our own true innate divinity. Each one of us is a piece of the divine. Each one of us is starseed. Each one of us is built of the building blocks of the most amazing materials in this universe. And somehow all those materials have congregated together to create a being with consciousness. And that is you, and that is me, and that is everyone else. And once we understand what a miracle that is, and that we have the ability to fully realize the miracle in the next moment and take advantage of that and go towards what we prefer, the possibilities are absolutely unlimited and infinite upon infinite. And that is what I want for all of you. So realize the power of love, but what love really is. What love really is. Investigate that for yourself. Find out, live it, and show it out to the world. And let's change this world for something amazing. Love, peace, and release. Hey, while I've got you, have you ever wondered more about the angels, who they are, how they can help you in your life, and what you can do, and what your full potentiality is? How do you live in joy? How do you have peace? How do you have health and abundance and good relationships? And just how can you traverse the angelic realm and finally let go of the pain and suffering that you are going through right now in whatever is in your life? You ever wondered? I would love for you to join my free private Facebook group, Divine Angelic Manifestors. You'll see the link at the end of this video, or down below rather, but it's go to facebook.com/groups/Divine Angelic Manifestors. It's free, it's private. I would love to see you there. Love, peace, release.